Welcome to Top Rare Coins, your ultimate destination for discovering the hidden treasures of history. On this channel, we explore some of the most fascinating and valuable old coins from the United States. From rare pennies and silver dollars to historic coins worth thousands of dollars, each piece has a story waiting to be uncovered. Whether you're a collector, a history lover, or just curious about coins you might have lying around, this channel will guide you through the world of rare U.S. coins, helping you valuable finds and learn what makes them so special. Don't forget to subscribe and join us as we uncover the secrets behind America's rarest coins. Here is a professional, engaging, and SEO-friendly 1,200-word YouTube script for your video on the 1970 D. Lincoln cent with no mint mark. Title: The Shocking Truth About the 1970 D. Lincoln Penny with no mint mark worth over $1.20 million. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Top Rare Coins, your trusted destination for discovering the hidden treasures in your pocket change. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in American numismatic history, the 1970 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that appears to have no mint mark. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that was supposed to carry a D mint mark, but in some rare cases, it looks like it doesn't exist at all. And what makes this coin even more exciting is its jaw-dropping market value, which can start from over $1.2 million for rare and high-grade examples. So stay with me till the end, because you might just have one of these hidden gems sitting unnoticed in your collection or even in your loose change. Let's begin with the basics. The 1970 Lincoln penny was part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909. By 1970, these coins were being produced at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins struck at the Denver Mint were marked with a small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side. However, here is where things get interesting. There have been reports and collector discussions about 1970 D pennies that appear to be missing the D mint mark entirely. At first glance, these coins look like they were struck in Philadelphia. But Philadelphia coins from that year typically did not carry any mint mark at all. So what is going on here? The mystery lies in possible minting errors. Experts believe that in extremely rare cases, the mint mark on a 1970 D penny may have been weakly struck, filled with grease, or completely omitted due to die issues. This creates the illusion of a no mint mark coin, even though it originated from the Denver Mint. This type of error is known as a filled die error or a weak strike error, and when it comes to rare coins, errors like these can significantly increase value. Now let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay such enormous amounts for these coins. Rarity is everything in coin collecting. The fewer examples that exist, the higher the demand. In the case of the 1970 D no mint mark penny, confirmed and authenticated examples are extremely rare. Many coins that appear to lack a mint mark are simply worn down or damaged, which is why professional grading and authentication are crucial. When a genuine error coin is discovered and verified, especially in high mint condition, it becomes a collector's dream. Condition is another major factor. Coins are graded on a scale from poor condition all the way up to mint state grades like MS65, MS66, or even higher. A 1970 D penny with no visible mint mark in mint state condition is exceptionally rare. These coins show little to no wear, have strong details, and often retain their original luster. Now imagine combining extreme rarity with near-perfect condition. That is how you get values exceeding $1.2 million. Yes, million. That some collectors and investors are willing to pay life-changing money for such unique pieces, especially when they are certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. These certifications add credibility and guarantee authenticity, which is essential when dealing with high-value coins. But here comes the most exciting part. You might actually have one of these coins. Before you get too excited, let's go over how to check. Take a close look at your 1970 pennies. Focus specifically on coins that should have a D mint mark. Examine the area below the date carefully. If you do not see a mint mark, do not jump to conclusions immediately. Use a magnifying glass or a coin microscope. Sometimes the mint mark is simply worn out or faint due to circulation. But if the surface looks smooth and there is no trace of a mint mark at all, you may have something special. Also pay attention to the overall condition of the coin. Higher grade coins are significantly more valuable. Look for sharp details, minimal scratches, and a strong shine that if you believe you have found a potential 1970 D no mint mark error, the next step is professional evaluation. D O not try to clean the coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and drastically reduce its value. Instead, keep it safe and send it to a reputable grading service. Authentication is key. There are many fake or altered coins in the market, and experts use advanced techniques to verify whether a coin is genuine. Only certified coins can reach those million-dollar price levels. Now you might be wondering, why does such a small detail like a missing mint mark create such massive value? The answer lies in the uniqueness of minting errors. Every coin produced by the mint is supposed to follow strict standards. When something goes wrong, it creates a rare variation that was never intended to exist. These mistakes are like fingerprints in history. Each one tells a story of what happened during production. Collectors love these stories. Owning a rare error coin is like owning a piece of history that no one else has. Today's story is truly fascinating. Imagine holding a simple penny in your hand, something most people overlook every single day, and discovering that it could be worth up to $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. In this video, we're going to explore the incredible mystery behind the 1980 Liberty 1 cent with no mint mark, why collectors are paying massive amounts for it, and how you can identify if you have one of these rare coins. Let's dive in. The 1980 Lincoln penny, also known as the Liberty 1 cent, is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. These coins feature the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, a design that remained until 2008. Now, most 1980 pennies are extremely common. Millions upon millions were produced, and in normal condition, they are worth just 1 cent. However, a very small number of these coins are incredibly rare due to unique minting errors and variations. These rare versions are what collectors are desperately searching for. Here's where things get interesting. Typically, coins minted in Philadelphia before 1980 did not carry a mint mark. So technically, a 1980 penny without a mint mark is normal. However, certain rare specimens from this year stand out because of unusual characteristics, striking errors, or exceptional preservation that make them extremely valuable. One of the most valuable types is the 1980 penny with a major mint error. These errors can include off-center strikes, double die obverse, misaligned dies, or even wrong planchet errors. When such an error occurs during the minting process, it creates a one-of-a-kind or extremely rare coin. Collectors love these mistakes. Why? Because they are not supposed to exist. The rarer and more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Some of these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare cases, their estimated value can reach into the million-dollar range depending on condition, certification, and uniqueness. Now let's talk about condition. In the coin world, condition is everything. A coin that looks brand new, with no scratches, no wear, and full original shine is considered mint state. These coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 67 or higher is considered extremely rare for older pennies. If a 1980 Liberty 1 cent with no mint mark is found in near-perfect condition and also has a rare mint error, that's when the value skyrockets. This is how a simple penny can jump from being worth 1 cent to potentially over $1 million. Let's break down what you should look for. First, check the date carefully. Make sure it clearly reads 1980. Sometimes wear or damage can make other dates look similar, so use a magnifying glass if needed. Next, examine the surface of the coin. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers. This is known as a double die error and is highly collectible. Then, inspect the alignment. If the design appears off-center or tilted, you might have an off-center strike error. Also, check the thickness and weight of the coin. If it feels different from a normal penny, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet. Finally, look at the overall condition. A coin with bright luster, sharp details, and no visible damage is far more valuable than a worn-out one. Now you might be wondering, how can you confirm if your coin is truly valuable? The best way is to have it professionally graded and authenticated by a reputable coin grading service. These organizations evaluate the coin, assign it a grade, and seal it in a protective holder. This not only verifies its authenticity, but also significantly increases its market value. Another important factor is demand. Rare coin values are driven by collectors. When collectors compete to own a unique or rare piece, prices can skyrocket. Auctions often play a huge role in determining the final value of a coin. There have been cases where coins initially estimated at a few $1,000s ended up selling for hundreds of thousands due to intense bidding wars. This is why stories like the 1980 Liberty 1 cent are so exciting. They remind us that hidden treasures can exist in the most ordinary places. Think about it. How many pennies have passed through your hands over the years? How many are sitting in jars, drawers, or old collections right now? One of them could be a rare gem waiting to be discovered. Let's also talk about the myth versus reality. While it is true that some 1980 pennies can be worth a fortune, not every coin from that year is valuable. In fact, the vast majority are still worth only face value. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating stories in coin collecting history, the 1981 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors worldwide and is rumored to reach values starting from $1.2 million under extraordinary circumstances. Now, let's explore what makes this coin so special, how to identify it, and why collectors are willing to pay such astonishing amounts for what looks like an ordinary penny. To begin with, the Lincoln 1 cent coin is one of the most recognizable coins in the United States. First introduced in 1909, it features President Abraham Lincoln on the front and has gone through several design changes over the decades. By 1981, the coin was still being widely produced in large quantities at different U.S. mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now here is where things start to get interesting. In 1981, pennies minted in Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark. That means if you look at a regular 1981 penny from Philadelphia, you will not see any letter under the date. This is completely normal. However, not all 1981 no mint mark pennies are valuable. In fact, most of them are only worth their face value. What turns an ordinary 1981 penny into a potential million-dollar treasure? The answer lies in rare errors and unique characteristics that occurred during the minting process. One of the most talked about possibilities is a rare transitional error. In 1982, the U.S. Mint officially changed the composition of the penny from mostly copper to a zinc core with a thin copper coating. However, during the transition period, some coins were accidentally struck using the wrong metal composition or incorrect planchets. If a 1981 penny with no mint mark was mistakenly struck using a planchet intended for another year or with an unusual metal composition, it could become extremely rare. These types of errors are highly desirable among collectors because they represent a mistake that was never supposed to happen. Another factor that can dramatically increase value is a double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is accidentally engraved twice, slightly offset, creating a visible doubling effect on the date, letters, or Lincoln's image. If a strong and clear double die error is found on a 1981 no mint mark penny, its value can skyrocket. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other minting anomalies that can make a coin unique. The more dramatic and visually obvious the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Condition is another crucial factor. Coins are graded on a scale, with higher grades indicating better condition. A coin that has never been circulated and still retains its original mint luster is considered uncirculated and can be worth significantly more than a worn coin. If a rare error coin is also in near-perfect condition, its value can multiply many times over. Now let's talk about the claim that this coin can be worth $1.20 million. While it is important to approach such claims with caution, there have been cases where extremely rare coins have sold for astonishing prices at auctions. The value of a coin is ultimately determined by its rarity, condition, and demand among collectors. If a unique 1981 no mint mark penny with a major mint error were discovered and authenticated, it could potentially reach very high values in the right market conditions. Collectors are always searching for the next big discovery, and when a coin is one of a kind or nearly impossible to find, bidding wars can drive prices into the millions. So how can you check if you have one of these rare coins? Start by examining your 1981 penny carefully. Look at the date and confirm that there is no mint mark below it. Then inspect the coin under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look for any unusual features such as doubling in the text, irregular shapes, or anything that seems out of the ordinary. Next, weigh the coin if you have access to a precise scale. A standard copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs around 2.5 grams. Any significant deviation could indicate something unusual. That if you believe you have found something special, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can damage its surface and reduce its value significantly. Instead, consider sending it to a professional coin grading service for authentication and evaluation. Today's video, we're diving deep into the mystery and value behind the 1987 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, why collectors are going crazy over it, what makes it so rare, and how you might be able to identify one yourself. Let's begin with the basics. The 1987 Lincoln 1-cent coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, originally introduced in 1909. By 1987, these coins were being produced in massive quantities at different mints across the United States. Typically, coins struck in Philadelphia carried no mint mark during that time, which is why millions of 1987 pennies exist without a visible mint mark. Oh, now you might be wondering, if most 1987 Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, what makes this particular coin so valuable? The answer lies in a rare and highly unusual minting error. There exists a small number of 1987 pennies that were struck under extremely unusual conditions, creating a combination of features that should not exist together. These rare error coins are believed to have been struck using incorrect dies, or possibly experimental or transitional metal compositions, which were never meant to be released into circulation. Point 1 theory suggests that some of these coins were accidentally struck on planchets intended for a different composition. While by 1987, Lincoln cents were primarily made of zinc with a thin copper coating, there have been reports and discoveries of coins from that era that appear to have been struck on off-metal planchets or show anomalies in weight and color. Another possibility is a die error involving misaligned or improperly prepared dies, which can create subtle but extremely valuable variations. These include doubled features, missing details, or surfaces that differ from standard issues. Collectors who have examined these rare 1987 pennies have reported unusual characteristics, such as a slightly different luster, sharper or distorted lettering, and in some cases, a weight that does not match the official standard of 2.5 grams for a zinc cent. Now, let's talk about the value. In the world of coin collecting, rarity combined with demand creates incredible value. A standard 1987 penny is worth just 1 cent, or slightly more in uncirculated condition. But when you introduce a rare minting error that is confirmed and authenticated, the value can skyrocket. The most exceptional examples of the 1987 no mint mark error penny have reportedly reached valuations starting from $1,200,000. These are coins that have been verified by professional grading services, are in near-perfect condition, and exhibit clear, undeniable error characteristics that set them apart from every other coin of the same year. But it is important to understand that not every 1987 penny without a mint mark is valuable. In fact, the vast majority are completely normal and common. The million-dollar value applies only to those extremely rare specimens with specific and verified anomalies. So how can you tell if you might have one of these rare coins? Here are a few key things to look for. Today is described as a 1993 penny with no mint mark. Now, here's where things get interesting. Normally, Coins minted in Philadelphia during that time either had no mint mark or were expected to follow certain production standards. But when a coin appears to have unusual characteristics, whether due to a minting error, a missing detail, or a rare variation, it can instantly become valuable. Collectors are always on the lookout for anomalies. A missing mint mark, in particular, can indicate a rare production error or an unusual die variation. These errors happen during the coin minting process, and because they are not intentional, they are extremely limited in number. That scarcity is what drives up demand and, ultimately, value. Now imagine finding a coin that looks normal but turns out to be one of these rare variations. That's exactly why stories about the 1993 no mint mark penny have captured so much attention. Some collectors believe that certain versions of this coin are so rare that they could command prices starting from $1.2 million, especially if they are in pristine, uncirculated condition. But before you rush to check your coin jar, let's talk about what makes a coin truly valuable. Condition plays a huge role. In the coin collecting world, this is known as grading. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from poor condition all the way to mint state perfection. A coin that has never been used in circulation, with sharp details and no scratches, is considered far more valuable than one that has been worn down over time. Next, authenticity is everything. Just because a coin appears unusual does not automatically make it valuable. Professional verification is required to confirm whether it is a genuine error or a rare variety. Reputable grading services examine coins under magnification, checking for signs of tampering, wear, and authenticity. Another important factor is demand. Even if a coin is rare, it must also be desirable to collectors. The Lincoln Penny series is one of the most popular in the world, and that popularity significantly boosts the value of rare variations within the series. When collectors compete to own a unique piece, prices can skyrocket. So, how can you identify a potentially valuable 1993 penny? Start by carefully examining the front and back of the coin. Look for the date 1993 and check the area where the mint mark would typically appear. If you notice anything unusual, such as a missing mark, misalignment, or strange texture, that could be your first clue. Next, pay attention to the overall condition. Is the coin shiny and well-preserved, or does it show heavy wear? Coins in better condition always have a higher chance of being valuable. You should also weigh the coin and compare it with standard specifications. Even a slight difference in weight can indicate a minting error. Additionally, using a magnifying glass or a coin microscope can help you spot tiny details that are not visible to the naked eye. Now, let's talk about the reality behind million-dollar coins. While there are stories and claims of coins reaching incredibly high values, such prices are usually achieved under very specific conditions. The coin must be extremely rare, verified by experts, and often sold through high-profile auctions where collectors are willing to pay a premium. That means not every 1993 penny without a visible mint mark will automatically be worth millions. However, the possibility, even the smallest chance, is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It turns everyday objects into potential treasures. This is why so many collectors spend hours searching through rolls of coins, old collections, and even loose change. The idea that a life-changing discovery could be hiding in plain sight is incredibly exciting. If you believe you have found something special, the next step is to have it evaluated by a professional. Avoid cleaning the coin, as this can actually reduce its value. Instead, store it safely and seek expert advice from a trusted coin grading service or dealer. Today, we are diving into one of the most talked about coins on the internet, the 1997 Liberty 1-cent coin, especially the version people claim has no mint mark or a mysterious 1997 D penny variation. You may have seen videos or posts saying this coin is worth $1.2 million or even more. But here's the real question. Is this coin truly that valuable, or is it just another viral myth? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn could save you from misinformation or help you identify a truly valuable coin. Let's begin. First, let's understand what the 1997 1-cent coin actually is. This coin belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front end, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was produced in 3 major U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now here's something very important. If your 1997 penny has no mint mark, That does not mean it's an error. In fact, coins without a mint mark were made at the Philadelphia Mint, and this was completely normal for pennies during that time. Millions, actually billions, of these coins were produced. To be exact, over 4.6 billion 1997 pennies were struck in Philadelphia alone. So right away, we can say this. A 1997 penny with no mint mark is not rare by default. Now let's talk about the 1997 D penny. The D mint mark stands for Denver, and just like the Philadelphia version, this coin was also produced in massive numbers, over 4.5 billion coins. So again, this is not a rare coin in general circulation. Most of these coins that you find in your pocket change are only worth their face value. Just 1 cent, yes, you heard that right. Despite what many viral videos claim, the average 1997 penny, whether it has a D mint mark or no mint mark, is only worth 1 cent if it is worn and circulated. However, this is where things get interesting. Some 1997 pennies can be worth much more, but only under very specific conditions. Let's break that down. The value of a coin depends heavily on its condition, also known as its grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. For a 1997 penny with no mint mark, if it is in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used and still has its original red shine, it can be worth anywhere from a few cents to around $75 or more. And in extremely rare cases, a nearly perfect specimen graded at the highest levels has sold for thousands of dollars. One example of a 1997 penny sold for over $6,000 at auction due to its exceptional condition. Now that's impressive, but still far from $1.20 million. So where does this million-dollar claim come from? The truth is, many online sources exaggerate coin values to attract views. In reality, no verified sale exists for a 1997 penny reaching anywhere near $1.20 million. Even the best-known examples, including high-grade coins and rare varieties, remain in the thousands, not millions. But don't lose interest yet, because there are still ways your 1997 penny could be valuable. Let's talk about error coins. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process. These can include double strikes, off-center designs, die cracks, or unusual features. For the 1997 penny, some known error varieties include double dies and minor striking errors. These errors can increase the value of a coin significantly, sometimes up to hundreds of dollars, depending on the rarity and condition. However, even error coins from 1997 typically do not reach extremely high values unless they are unique and in perfect condition. Another factor that affects value is color.